tell me this, over the last year, have you used the expansion pack? Have you played any N64 NSO games? Have you played any Genesis games? Have you used it?
If you're like me, and I know that you are like me in some ways, you were pretty pumped about this expansion pack.
I was last year?
Yes, last year, around October time, as a matter of fact, because it launched on October the 25th of last year. You know, the big thing for us, I think, was N64 games.
Yeah.
Right? And then they said they were going to add Genesis games, and we were like, cool.
I haven't played one. Yeah. I have played the N64 games.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I was super excited about the N64. But what a lot of people weren't excited about was how much it cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's break down those costs. So it is, and as a matter of fact, to this day, still $49.99 for 12 months, compared to $19.99 a year for the regular subscription. So that's like NSO without the expansion pack. So you get just Nintendo, the original NES and SNES games. Or if you're like us, you can get 8 people and pay $79.99 for a year of the family plan.
Right, and that includes the expansion pack.
Yes.
For $80, and if you get up to 8 people, that brings it down to $10 per person per year, which is, in my mind, that's pretty good price for what you get. But the $50, if you're just buying it by yourself, then it becomes a little harder pill to swallow.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the other day, I was just sitting around the house, and I got an email, and it was Nintendo saying, hey, make sure that your payment method is up to date because soon you're going to get auto charged for the next year of this thing.
Right.
And I was like, oh, we've had it for a year.
Yeah.
So I figured it would be fun to, come on and kind of talk about that year and whether or not we thought it was worth the crap.
Was it worth it, and will it be worth it in the next year?
Right. Because it has changed.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, like, they've added things. They haven't taken anything away, obviously.
Yeah.
But they've added things, so, they're trying to add value to the service. Is it more worth it this year? Was it worth the $50 or $80, really? $80 that we spent amongst 8 people?
Yeah.
I think we had 8 people, didn't we? Did we max it out?
Yeah, we maxed it out.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm hoping those same 8 people want to re-up it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll either have to pay a couple dollars more or find somebody else.
I'm sure we can find other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, tell me this. Over the last year, have you used the expansion pack? Have you played any N64 NSO games? Have you played any Genesis games? Have you used it?
So I haven't played very much Genesis at all, actually. I did when it first came out. I played a little bit of Echo the Dolphin.
Okay, yeah.
And that game is really cool, but I didn't, play it for any substantial amount of time. I'd already played a little bit of it through emulation prior to that. As far as the N64 games goes, I've like dabbled in a bunch of them. I've like jumped in and jumped out and tested them out and, had some fun with Star Fox and things like that. But I haven't really like just gone through and like cover to covered any of them, which, I want to do Paper Mario. I know you're either doing that or recently finished that. I don't know if you beat it or not, but I want to do that one. But what I've probably done more than anything is played those Mario Kart booster pass courses.
Yeah. And that's another thing we haven't mentioned about this.
Yeah.
It's not just the N64 and Genesis games. You also get access to DLC for various games, specifically Animal Crossing, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart.
Yes.
And I think that's it. There could be one more that I'm missing, but I think for sure those 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But anyway, they'll probably add more to that in the future. And those Mario Kart courses come out like sporadically, and that's going to continue for like the next year. So, that right there is almost worth it for me just because I love Mario Kart.
Yeah, I think that especially if you're dividing it up, then, those you're probably paying less than it would just cost to buy those, those booster pass courses.
Oh yeah,
that are part of Mario Kart. So you're definitely getting your money's worth, even if you just do that. I think a lot of the DLCs, you're probably, if you just like say you're a big Animal Crossing fan or the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2, or these these booster pass courses. I think you're definitely getting your money's worth if you're splitting it. Like we recommend.
Yeah.
If you can at all find people and make it happen, because then it's not really a question of is it worth it at that point, because it's such a low investment if you're doing it at that lowest possible rate.
Yeah. I mean, it's $10 per person for a year.
Yeah.
If you have 8 people on a family plan, and that's, you can do the math on that, but that's very cheap.
But in terms of like, has it been worth it for you this year? It sounds like yes, but maybe only because we split it amongst 8 people.
Yeah, if I had paid $50, I don't know that I would feel that I got my money's worth.
Right.
But that's on me, like I didn't prioritize those N64 games like maybe I would like to.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing is like, it's cool to have it available to you, and then the question is will you use it? I know personally I have played through...
Oh, I also played some Yoshi Story, sorry.
Oh, yeah, Yoshi Story. Yeah, I actually played that game all the way through. I played Yoshi Story, and I played Paper Mario. And those, I think, might be the only two N64 games that I've really... I may have like dabbled in some others, but in terms of like played from... all the way through on NSO Expansion Pack. Those are the only two I've played. Now, that being said, and I also didn't use any DLCs, but that being said, the Paper Mario is not a cheap game. And being able just to play through that game just by itself, to me, was worth the $10 I spent this year, for sure. It's definitely
There's a lot of games on there that aren't cheap, and that goes for the base NSO and the expansion pack.
Right? I mean, yeah, for sure.
I bring this up every week. It seems like now, but with base NSO, you could play Earthbound, and Earthbound, if you buy a cartridge of Earthbound, you're like, that's like a dang mortgage payment. Yeah,
I know. Man, I started looking into Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
Is that GameCube?
Yeah, GameCube. Very expensive game. I mean, like, I couldn't find anything cheaper. Like, just a disc by itself
just
was like
$80. Just a scratched loose disc.
$80, yeah, for like a scratched loose disc. It's expensive, and so obviously that game's not there. But just talking about games that are expensive. But regular Paper Mario for N64 is also a pretty expensive game. So, there are some great value games if you're talking about just like, is it cheaper than buying an actual cartridge? Oftentimes, yes, this is the way to go.
Yeah, but I do want to tell a little bit of a cautionary tale when it comes to these N64 games, because if you recall, the N64 has the weirdest controller ever.
Yeah.
And back in the day, we didn't think it was weird because it's just what we had. But now that like controllers have modernized and kind of standardized in a way, it's super weird. And if you don't have some sort of N64 controller that's compatible with your Switch, whether that's the official NSO one or a third party, some of these games are kind of weird to play.
Yeah.
Like, even on a Pro controller.
Yeah, it's not so bad. So I can definitely say, like, I've only played Yoshi Story and Paper Mario. Yoshi Story is a basically a 2D platformer. No problems there. It doesn't really make use of, like, C buttons.
Right.
And the C buttons are really where the issue comes in. Now, Paper Mario maps the C buttons to the right joystick. And, like, just pressing down would be down, like, left and right. So
that's a pretty good fix.
That is how it worked. And I don't know if all of them are that way. I was playing on a Pro controller. From what I understand, you can play these on one Joy-Con. But if you play it on one Joy-Con, to access the C buttons, you have to hold down, like, one of the...
Hold R or something.
One of the, like, shoulder buttons, and then the stick become... Or maybe one of the buttons.
Then the buttons become the C buttons.
The C buttons, yeah.
Which is actually pretty natural feeling, I think.
Yeah.
As far as the two methods go.
Yeah, but I mean, like, still, that's not a great... I mean, either way, the N64 controller doesn't map super well onto it. But you can remap buttons.
Yeah, but you have to do it through the system software, right? You can't do it in the NSO app, I don't think.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
So that's like remapping it like system-wide at that point. It's not exactly game by game, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. And if you think about the N64 controller, like, A and B were kind of where... Let me make sure I get this right. So A and B was where, like, Y and B is, right?
Well, like, yeah, I mean, it's like on Nintendo controllers, A is on the right and B is on the left. But on the N64, the B was above A.
Right.
And on the Switch, B is below A.
Yeah, and A is to the right of B.
That's the way it is that's the way it was on the N64. Right?
I don't think so.
A is to the right of B.
Here, let's look at the back of my computer.
Yeah, A is to the right of B. Yeah, just barely.
Right, but A is...
To the right.
Oh, but it's below. That's the problem, is it's below.
B is below.
You're right, yeah, it's below.
Yeah.
So, kind of weird.
Yeah, it's definitely, like, weird, and I think that's why, like, if you've ever played any Mario games where you need to, like, hold, run, and jump, it's been mapped differently on modern controllers to allow for you to have that more natural running and jumping.
Yeah.
I think that, like, where it would have been A and B previously, now it's like B and Y.
And Y, yeah.
So it's just a thing that you know, it doesn't exactly map always. But like the games I've played, it's been no problem. I think that with certain games, I could see there being more and more issues that pop up with that. It's going to be a game-by-game basis.
Yeah, and Nintendo does make an official N64 controller remake that's wireless, that works with it, you know, works with your Switch and all that. And as long as you're a expansion pack, or is it just NSO, or do you have to have the expansion pack?
Just NSO.
Okay, so they'll sell it to you if you're an NSO subscriber, so they say. But I have not found this thing in stock one time, and I've looked.
No, in fact, I check probably like every week or two. I just get on there just to look. In fact, I looked today, and nope, never. It's never available. It's always instantly sold out. I think the only way to do it, to get one, would be like what we used to have to do. Well, I mean, maybe eBay, but I think what we used to have to do for like finding a PS5 or Series X, you got to follow a Twitter bot or someone who follows it. As soon as it comes in the stock, jump on it. That's like the only way to do it.
To do for a controller, that's overkill.
Yeah. But I mean, they just don't make a whole lot of these.
I know, but I want one really bad. I have all the other NSO controllers, and I want that one.
So, yeah. But that being said, like the Genesis, you really don't need.
No.
You don't need that because the Genesis only had a few buttons anyway, so it maps pretty well onto pretty much everything that you're going to want that you could use. So you just really don't need it for a Genesis.
Yeah, it had more buttons in Japan, if I remember right.
6 buttons.
Yeah, and there is a Japanese version of the NSO controller, but we're not Japanese. So
we eventually got the 6-button Genesis controller here in the States, but the one that, you know, is in general the Genesis controller is the 3-button controller.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. But the N64, it can make the experience better, I think. I haven't done it, but I would think it definitely would. But what happens if you don't, you know, re-up your subscription? Like just, you say, you know, hey, I decided this wasn't worth it for me. I don't want to do a second year. What's going to happen?
Well, you're not going to be able to play any of those games we just talked about.
Yeah. No N64, no Sega Genesis.
Nope. None of that. No more Ocarina of Time. In addition to that, you're going to lose your DLC. You know, so Randy actually wrote in here some very specifics about Animal Crossing. You want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, so like Animal Crossing had this DLC expansion which opened up new areas you can go to. So you wouldn't have access to those anymore, even though you previously did. But the one thing that they are allowing is that if you don't, you know, if you lose access to the DLC, you will get to keep items that you unlocked that were like exclusive to the DLC. So if you have any like items that are placed in your house or like decorations or whatever, you'll be able to keep those.
That's good that they're not just going to like strip your wallpaper off your wall and, you know, take your bed frame. And
you just won't be able to have access to those exclusive areas that were, you know, to the DLC.
Yeah. You're also going to lose your Splatoon 2 expansion. And to me, what would be most devastating is you're going to lose your Mario Kart DLC.
Yeah.
So you're going to be back to just straight old vanilla Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh, with just the 200 levels, and you're not going to have those extra. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. There's actually not that many.
No, there's
not that many courses. There are plenty of courses, I think, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, you're getting so many through this DLC. You get 8 new courses every time they release.
Yeah.
And I think there's
2 so far, so we've had 16.
Right. But how many is there going to be in all? I feel like there's going to be 8 in all.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't remember.
I don't know. I may have pulled that number out of nowhere, but that would be 64 courses. That would be huge.
I really don't. That seems way too much. I don't think that's accurate. Maybe
it's 4 because they're releasing 2 Grand Prix per wave. So I don't. You know what? Why are we?
We have Google. We can look this up. But yeah, I mean, like if you use these DLCs, then definitely losing out on them if you actually use them. I do think that the NSO expansion pack is probably one of the better deals to get these DLCs if you split it and, you know, divide it up. I really think that is the key. You have to find people to split this with.
Yes. Make some friends if you don't have any, or split it with some enemies. It doesn't really matter. There's going to be 6 waves.
6.
So not 64. There's going to be 48 courses, but that's still a crap.
That's a lot. That probably at least doubles what was initially there, I would say. At least.
I don't know. I
don't know how many courses were in there originally, but
I would say there's more than 12 Grand Prix.
Okay, maybe you're right. But let's say you decide that you do want to go ahead and continue with the NSO expansion pack, or you want to sign up for the first time. Are there things coming down the pipeline that will make you excited and want to sign up? I personally think that in the very near future, maybe in the next couple of weeks, that we will get something from Nintendo saying that they're adding even more to this service. I really do think that.
What do you think it'll be?
Well, I mean, like, everyone thinks Game Boy. Everyone said Game Boy, but I don't know if that's just because that's the thing that makes sense to everybody. But Nintendo never does what makes sense.
No.
So I don't know. I would like to see Game Boy. I mean, you know, like in a perfect world, I'd expect GameCube, but that's not going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
For sure.
I don't think that's going to happen. But I think Game Boy makes perfect sense, like everybody says, because it's the portable system. Like, that makes so much sense. I mean, what other than that, because I don't think they're going to add GameCube. Because they're talking about all these remakes and remasters, and, you know, we've already got, like, Twilight Princess and all that. So No, I mean, Skyward Sword.
Yeah. Skyward Sword was a Wii game, though. But
Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be awesome. But I don't think they'll.
I think the only GameCube game that we've gotten, like a re-release of, was Mario Sunshine. And that was in the triple pack.
That was in the triple pack.
Yeah. But so, you know, but maybe there's been certainly rumors that Game Boy games are coming in one way or another. I mean, sorry, GameCube games are coming in one way or another. I do expect them just to be physical releases that you can purchase separately.
That would be so amazing if they added GameCube and we got like Melee with online play.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would just be a game changer.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I really don't. I don't think Melee's coming back at all. I think that
Nintendo hates that game.
Yeah, I really don't think Melee's coming back at all.
Ever.
Because at that point, because Smash is such a competitive game, and if they bring back Melee, you know, the Ultimate competitive scene is going to dwindle, and they want to keep Ultimate as the current competitive game, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if it was only supported through NSO, like, I don't know how competitive it could be, because that online can be pretty primitive. So
Right, yeah. Well, fair enough. But, you know, say we do get Game Boy, do you expect it to go to the expansion pack, or do you think that'll be in the base NSO service?
I think everything's going to go to the expansion pack from here on out.
No more? Yeah, I agree with you. I would like to see, like, you know, I think it'd be awesome if, like, Game Boy came to base, and then we got, like, Game Boy Advance on the expansion pack, but that's like really asking for a lot, and I don't think Nintendo's going to do that because they never do.
Why would they incentivize a program that's free, like when they have this paid subscription now? Like from a business perspective, like
well, I mean, like base NSO is not free, but
you're right, it's not free anymore.
Yeah, it used to be, but it's $20 a year.
Yeah. So I'm living in the major past.
Yeah, you are. You're like living in 2018.
What a year!
No, man, that was a bad year. It wasn't even a good year for gaming. 2017 was the good year for gaming.
It was a good year. I don't want to get too sad here, but it was pre some pretty big world events that, that changed some things. So.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, but you're right. It's not free anymore, but it's a lot cheaper. So, I don't know why they would prioritize that.
But the question at the end of the day is this, Daniel. I think I know the answer to this. Do you plan on signing up? We've already said this. Yes, I plan on signing up. You plan on signing up. As long as we can get some friends, I think it's definitely worth it.
Definitely.
And like I said, if you're wanting to do this, definitely find some friends and split the cost. And then it's $10 a year. I really do think you're getting your money's worth at that point. I think even if you can only get like 4 or 5 friends, or even just a couple friends, you know.
Oh, I mean, anything would help.
Yeah.
For sure. Significantly. And
then you got to use it. And that's the really thing. And neither of us have really utilized it that much.
No,
but
not until it's full.
But we also didn't pay that much for it, so it's like it ended up being okay.
And we do want to stream some GoldenEye, you know, when it comes out with the online play and all that. So I mean, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Things coming down. We didn't really get to that. Things coming down in the future. We're gonna get GoldenEye. We're gonna get 1080. All the Mario parties. What else? There's something else too.
Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. Excitebike 64.
There's some cool games coming up.
Yeah, that may be. I don't know. There may be 1 or 2 more they announced, but yeah, cool games.
Those are for sure. And then, of course, GoldenEye. You know,
the big one.
That's one of the big ones that's coming out. We don't know. They haven't put a release date on that, have they?
I don't think so.
But at least at this moment that we're recording this, yeah, I think that there are some cool games coming up. But let us know, you know, if you've had NSO Expansion Pack, if you're planning on keeping it, or if you're planning on getting it for the first time. You know, is a game like GoldenEye going to tempt you, make you want to join the service?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people it will.
I do too.